Hello everyone, it's Tay of Shantae Plans and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've just completed my yearly spreads in my 2025 bullet journal setup, and in this video I want to go ahead, take a flip through and look at those spreads and share with you how I'll be using them for next year. This is my second year using a bullet journal. 2024 was my first year using a bullet journal, and I really did not know much about yearly spreads when I first started this bullet journal in January. And so I really tried to do as much research as possible and watch tons of bullet journaling content so that I could learn what all should go into the yearly spreads and spreads at the beginning of my setup that would be helpful and useful for me throughout the year. So the bullet journal that I'm using for 2025 is from Archer and Olive. I love the packaging for their journals. This is so cute. I will be using an A5 minimal floral notebook. It has vegan leather. It's a dot grid notebook, 192 pages with 160 GSM weight. So let's go ahead and open this up. So I love the beautiful detailing on the cover, and I'm excited to see how the vegan leather wears over the year with use. I think this is going to age beautifully. On the inside, they have this really pretty foil detail, which I think is so nice. Then we have the This Book Belongs To page, and I have a custom sticker that I ordered from Paper Trail Plans because I am one of those people who is completely intimidated and terrified of writing on this first page, and so I never ever do it. And so when they had a custom script weekend at Paper Trail Plans, I ordered some custom scripts with my name on them specifically to use to do this, because otherwise I knew there was no way my name was going to end up in this notebook. Turning to our first page, we have my grid measurements guide. And so I created a pocket on this page just to hold my grid measurements guide. And I am so looking forward to using this because in all of my bullet journaling research, when I saw grid measurements guides, they really showed me that what people were doing were creating pages where they would show how to break the page down into halves, thirds, fourths, and create columns and things like that in their bullet journal. Well, that's not my personal style and what I do in my monthly setups. Like I have my self-care bingo table, my order tracker, this mile tracker. I create all of these different little tables and lists and things inside of my monthly setups. And so I knew that what I needed was to have something that was going to give me measurements for the most common tables and things that I was creating within my spreads. The other thing I was very conscious of, so for 2024, the notebook I was using is from Preppression, and the grid dot spaces on that notebook are spaced further apart than the grid dot spaces in an Archer and Olive notebook. And so I know there's going to be a little bit of different look and scale to the tables and things that I'm creating, but I was really wanting to make sure that it was really easy and efficient for me to go in each month and I can place down my ruler. I know where my start point is and my end point, and I can measure out, and that way I can draw out all the different tables and things that I'll be creating. And I made a little guide for myself for my most commonly created tables and things that I make, and just telling me how many spaces over and how many spaces down I need each one to be, and then kind of highlighted my most common measurements on the ruler on the side here. And so it's going to make it really easy for me as I'm going from month to month to create all of my different tables and things, because I have this little guide. And I kid you not, for all of 2024, I was literally each and every month, I would go back to the previous month and count out all of my spacing and just be like, okay, how many across is this and how many spaces down every single month. So this is going to be such a lifesaver for me, save so much time and be a lot more efficient. So I'm really glad that I made this. And for that first page, if you are familiar with most notebooks, usually that first page is kind of stuck to the back of this page anyways. And so I was originally just going to skip this page. And then when I thought about doing the grid guide, I was like, oh, I could totally turn this into a pocket, which is going to be perfect. And that way I can make this a very functional and useful page. And I love the way this came together. Then the next page is just my little about me page, and I think this came together so cute. I printed out a photo of myself using my sprocket and then just decorated around it using the kit that I got to help create with Paper Trail Plans. And so I actually have a video on the kit and the release and all of that. When I sat down and started thinking about what I wanted for my 2025 yearly spreads, I knew I wanted to have a kit that had a very kind of generic planner theme to it. I wanted to go with kind of neutral colors, but I didn't want it to be like super boring and plain with the colors. So I definitely wanted to bring in some color, but I didn't want it to feel season specific. I wanted it to feel like something that throughout the entire year, as I continue to flip back and use these spreads and look at them, would feel like it was like great for the entire year, right? And so I'm so happy with what we came up with. Working with them was so amazing. The images, the colors, everything came together beautifully, and I love the way this page came out. This was just really fun to create. It felt very scrapbooking to me, which was my first hobby prior to me getting into planning. This is another custom sticker that I got from Paper Trail Plans, and it just says Tay's Planner, and I love that so much. Also obsessed with this cute little quote here that says 12 new chapters, 365 new chances. So cute. So that is my little intro page. Then turning to our next page, we have the future log, and this is something that I did not have in my 2024 setup, and it was one of those things that, like, as I kept going in using my bullet journal in 2024, I was like, oh man, really wish I had a future log, because I was planning everything 1 month at a time and really thinking about what was happening at that month, and then I would have things that were coming up later, and I was like, oh, I understand now why everyone puts a future log at the beginning of their bullet journals, because it helps you plan for things that are coming up later in the year. So it's just very efficient. So I decided to do this Dutch door style. That way I only had to do my title once. I think when I do this for 2026, what I'm likely to do is actually just put future log, have my title running down the side. I made this Dutch door cut here and then here so that I could have these shorter pages. And I mean, I'm assuming it's just because, like, I'm a novice and still very new at bullet journaling, but I don't like the fact that it's left this part of the page kind of lifting up. And that's the thing I don't like about doing that particular cut with the Dutch door. Typically when I do it, I'll take off just the edges on this side, and then I don't have to worry about anything lifting in the spine. But I gave it a try because I'd seen a lot of future logs done this way, and I thought it would be really fun. I'm very happy with it. I'm just hoping that as it continues to wear throughout the year, that doesn't lift or give any issues. So if it does, I'll have to figure out how to kind of secure that a bit, but that is my future log. Next, we have my gratitude page, and I'm calling this 25 Good Things in 2025. And this is a page that I did have in my 2024 setup, where I did 24 good things in 2024. And it was something I really enjoyed using this year. Just a way to write down small little things that I'm grateful for. And I really like that concept of trying to remind myself and focus on good things, because sometimes life can be hard, and it's nice to have little reminders of things I'm appreciative of. Next, we have my monthly themes page, and this is one I am so excited for and really looking forward to using. The inspiration for this page came from a bullet journaler on TikTok that I watch. Her handle is Groovy Gracie Creates, and she draws in her bullet journal. And so what she created was a monthly themes page where in each of her boxes she would draw out what her theme was. And so then she had this really cute, like, year at a glance of all of the themes in her bullet journal for the year. I don't draw my bullet journal, I use stickers. And so my plan is, once I've completed doing my monthly setup, I'm going to take some of the leftover stickers from the kit that I use and just put them inside of the box. And that way this page will be a cute little snapshot of all of the themes that I've created for the entire year. And when I was working on this, I very intentionally used a lot of black and tried to keep this as pared down as possible, because I know once I start adding in all of the different stickers for each month, that this page has the potential to get a little visually busy. And so I was trying to make it as simple as possible to start with. So this is my first time doing this. I'm really excited to see how this one comes together and see how it works out, because I feel like I'm going to really enjoy this particular spread. This was also where I was immediately so happy with the paper quality of my Archer and Olive journal. I used this Tombow marker to create and draw out all of the little boxes on the page. And it's a very heavy inked, really nice quality marker, and I was really happy with the fact that I didn't experience any ghosting or bleed through or anything like that. When on either side of the page you can't see any of those lines coming through, which that made me really happy. The quality of the Archer and Olive journals were something I had very much heard about, and was really happy to see just how great this notebook is. The next page in the setup is my Year in Pixels. And this is one that I was so excited to add into this spread. This is definitely new for 2025. I did not have this in my 2024 setup. Most of the time when I've seen Year in Pixel setups, it includes all of the months of the year going across the top, and then along the sides it's dated 1 to 31 for each of the days of the month. Because typically what I've seen with Year in Pixel setups is people will have multiple pages of this Year in Pixels, and they're setups to be used for daily tracking. And so it's really cool because you can track your sleep, your mood, the weather, anything you want, and then you just go in each and every day, and for that month, for the corresponding day, you would just highlight and have a color that coordinates. So if you are doing a mood tracker, if you have your moods that are either happy, anxious, sad, whatever would be assigned a color, and then you would just fill in that color for the day. For me personally, one, I love those. I'm obsessed with them. Let me make that clear. I follow tons of people who do this type of tracking in their bullet journals, and I love watching it. I just simply am very self-aware of the fact that if you give me any sort of daily tracking assignment in my bullet journal, I'm going to fail so immediately. There's no way in the world I would be able to keep up with that. And so I was like, nope. We're gonna have to figure out another way to do this. And so what I decided to do in setting up my Year in Pixels, I do have all of the months of the year going across the top, but instead of doing a daily tracking, I've set it up where I'm only tracking this at the end of each month. And so what I'll do at the end of each month, for each of the categories that I've selected, I'll go in and just color in the corresponding feeling or emotion or whatever rating, that's the word I'm looking for, the corresponding rating for that area of my life at the end of each month. And so down at the bottom, I've created the key, which has my rating. And originally I was just going to go with excellent, good, average, below average, right? Just standard rating for what you would categorize these areas in. And then I started thinking, well, it's my bullet journal. I am allowed to put my personality into this. And so that was a snapshot of my charming little personality, but here we are. My top rating, instead of doing something like excellent, my top rating is sublime. And that is very much from the Barbie movie. And if you've seen the movie, there's a scene where Barbie agrees to be Ken's girlfriend, and he responds by going, sublime. And it was the most hilarious thing in the world to me. I love that part of the movie. I thought it was so funny. And so as I sat down and started thinking about how I wanted to rate and have my rating scale go, I was like, well, my top thing has got to be sublime, because it's just one of those words I never used before and then totally fell in love with because of that movie. And so I was like, okay, yeah, we're definitely, it's the top tier is sublime. Then I have good, just okay, could be better, and then dumpster fire when everything is just awful. So that is my ranking. And each month, at the end of each month, I'll go and color in each of these areas. Hope none of them are dumpster fires, but we shall see. And that is how I'll be using my year in pixels for 2025. The next page is our goals page, and this is one I actually was not expecting to include in my bullet journal, mostly just because, just for the sake of privacy, because I do share my bullet journal on social media and post videos and pictures and things like that. And while I absolutely enjoy doing that and sharing things, I knew for myself, in wanting to set goals for myself, I definitely wanted to get kind of really specific and personal. And just for the sake of privacy, I was originally thinking, well, that's not something I'm going to put in a journal or a notebook that I'm going to be putting on the internet, right? And then I thought, well, I mean, you could still do that and just put it in a way so that it's hidden, right? And so I decided to go with a pocket style spread for my goals page. And I love it because it allowed me to create these little inserts that just sit right inside of this pocket. And then what I've created on the inserts, I've them categorized. This one is career, home, and then planning. And so with each one of these little inserts, I can go ahead and write down where I am now, what I want to achieve, and then my action plan for how I get to where I currently am to the goal that I'm trying to achieve. So I love the concept of this and how this is set up. I also really like the design of this and how cute this came out in the little pocket, that it has this cute little like waterfall tab design for each of my inserts, and I like that they sit kind of stacked and tiered that way. So I think that came out super cute. I am really looking forward to using this. And I love the fact that I was able to go ahead and include this in my setup. Still feel like I can be as personal and detailed as I'd like to be in writing down my goals for the year, and still be able to share it in my bullet journal. So very excited for that one. And then the last two pages in my yearly setup, we have my letter to my future self, which this is one I did do in my 2024 setup, and it was something I really enjoyed and absolutely knew I wanted to include in my 2025 setup as well. And so with the letter to my future self, what I will do in January of 2025, I will write a letter to myself. And then in January of 2026, I get to read the letter. And so I created a pocket page and just has this insert. And this is where I will go ahead and write out my letter to myself. And I think this is going to be enough space for me. I write pretty small, but if I need more room than this, I can always just go ahead and write on the back. But I think that's probably going to give me enough room. I don't need to write like a super long letter to myself, I don't think. And then this just sits tucked right into this pocket. And I love that when it's in the pocket, it feels very much a part of the page, and it just kind of sits in there seamlessly. And I had a ton of fun decorating this and playing around with the cute little lettering. And these letters are also from Paper Trail Plans and the quotes. Again, I'm so proud of the kit that we created. I think all of the images and the clip art and the florals, everything came together so beautifully, and it was really fun getting a chance to decorate using these stickers because they just were perfectly designed to fit the moods of the different pages that I was going to be creating for my yearly setup. So love how that came together. And then the last page in my setup, this was absolutely inspired by a bullet journaler that I watch on YouTube, who is Joshi Corinne. She has such incredible content on how to set up your bullet journal. And that is my cat meowing in the background, if you can hear that. Hold on a sec. She has such incredible videos on her channel sharing how you can set up your bullet journal and giving tons of different ideas for all sorts of different type of spreads that you can include in your bullet journal. And I was watching her content a lot because, again, this being only my second year going into bullet journaling, I really wanted to try to expose myself to as many different ideas and see which ones would be a good fit for me and what I could go ahead and incorporate into my bullet journal. She shared this idea of a January to December spread where I have 6 questions going down the center of the page, and then on this side I will fill in the answers to these questions in January, and then in December I will answer these same questions and see if anything has changed or if things have stayed the same from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And I loved the idea of doing that. For my questions, I decided to go with 2 questions that were planner related, 2 questions that were personal, and 2 questions that were social media related. And the great thing with this is you can choose whatever types of questions you want to answer, whatever is of interest to you about yourself, or things you might think are likely to change or perhaps stay the same, or something that has to do with your family, your work, your where you live, your pets, whatever it is you want your types of questions to come from. For me, I decided to go with my planner stack as my first question, which in the past 2 years, my planner stack from the beginning of the year to the end of the year has been completely different. I actually think 2025 will be the first year when my planner stack actually should stay the same, but we shall see. Interested to see what sticker kit and which shop I end up using at the beginning of the year, and then at the end. My coffee order, I just thought would be a fun thing to see if there's any change there or if I remain the same. My nail polish color, this one might actually inspire me to try a different nail polish color. I use Revel dip powder, and this is the color Ballet. It is my favorite pink. I absolutely love using this color. I wear it all the time, and it might be nice for me to try something new just to shake things up a little bit. We'll see if it happens. And then my last 2 questions are just my most watched YouTube vlogger. I really enjoy watching like day in the life type videos and vlogging type content. And so it'd be cool to see who I'm watching at the beginning of the year versus who I'm watching at the end of the year. And then my most used social media app. So that is it for my yearly setup. I am really excited now to get into January and start using this bullet journal and start filling out some of these spreads. And so I am so excited and happy. I don't even think I could possibly pick a favorite spread. I feel like as I was going through and creating these spreads, like I remember when I made this one, I was like, oh my God, this is my favorite spread. And then I made this one and I was like, oh, this is my favorite spread. But I'm so interested to know if you have a favorite of any of these spreads. If you want to leave that down in the comments, please let me know. I'm curious to see what you guys think. And then if there are any of these spreads that you think you might try out in your bullet journal setup, you can let me know that in the comments as well. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, because it definitely helps out with the YouTube algorithm and helps out my channel. And so I appreciate that so much. I hope you're all having an amazing day, and I will see you next video. Bye.